Welcome to The Explainer. What we do here is simple. We take interesting source texts, articles, and data, and we break them down for you slide by slide. The whole idea is to make complex topics easy to get, using visuals straight from the material we're looking at.
All right, let's jump right in. Today we are unpacking a devotional text that's called The Great Commission in Light of His Return. We're going to see how it takes this one huge core belief about the future and uses it to spark a really powerful sense of purpose for people in the here and now.
So this entire text, really, it's all built on one single idea. Let's take a look at what that idea is and the intense feeling of urgency it's meant to create.
Everything, and I mean everything, kicks off from this one point of absolute certainty. The text doesn't really argue this, it just states it as a given. This belief that Christ's return is a sure thing is the bedrock for everything else that comes after.
Okay, so once that certainty is on the table, the author adds another critical element: time. The point isn't just that this event will happen, but that it's going to happen soon. That little phrase, "the time is short," is there to pull this huge future event right into our present reality.
And this, right here, is the emotional engine of the whole message. You take that certainty, you add the idea that it's coming soon, and what do you get? Urgency. The goal is to turn what could be a passive belief into a real catalyst for action.
So you've got all this urgent energy. Where are you supposed to channel it? Well, the text points all that feeling toward one very specific command, the Great Commission.
Now, to ground this whole argument, the source text goes right to Scripture. This verse is laid out as the main instruction. It's the what you need to do that follows the why it's so urgent. This really is the anchor for the entire mission.
The text then gives its own very clear spin on what that scripture means today. It's not framed as some old historical command, but more like a current job description. Believers are called to be ambassadors on earth, and their job is to spread a specific message.
And here's where things get really practical. The text makes a big shift, moving from this huge theological idea to something you can actually do. It goes from what believers in general should do to what you, the reader, can do, like today.
So it's all laid out in this simple three-step plan. First, you start inward, you consider. Then you move to an outward action, you share. And you support the whole thing with a spiritual practice, you pray. It's a really direct model meant to fit into your daily life. And to make it even more real, the text actually gives you a prayer to use. And notice how it weaves all the pieces together: the ask for courage, the mission to share, and that constant reminder of why it's all so important. It basically wraps up the entire argument into one personal request.
The message doesn't just stop with you as an individual, though. It actually expands outward, connecting the reader to a much bigger community. It turns that personal commitment into a group effort.
And here's how they make that community idea happen. The text invites readers to join a global prayer group with specific, coordinated times for people in different countries. This is how it takes the abstract idea of a worldwide community and turns it into an actual scheduled event. It really drives home that feeling of a unified mission.
And after all the instructions, all the steps, and all the prayers, the devotional boils its whole message down to this one final, powerful statement. It's the ultimate summary of the core belief that's been driving the whole text from the very beginning.
So that leaves us with this big question, right? The text we just walked through gives one very clear answer. It links a belief about the end of time directly to urgent, meaningful action right now. It's just a fascinating example of how what we believe about tomorrow can completely change what we do today. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.